Done Cinema, where we focus on the film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema, and today we're going to be giving my top 10 Best Picture winners of all time that I have seen thus far. I've seen 36 of them, so let me know down in the comments below which are your top 10 Best Picture winners that have been out so far. Which have you seen? And going right into it, at number 10 we have Schindler's List. Now this is a heavy drama burden one that's not fun to rewatch. I've only seen it once, but it is just as intricate and just as deserving for its win. Steven Spielberg giving off a great film, just this heavy burden type of film over World War II, over Hitler and the Nazis burning all these different Jews and just what they all have to do, and Schindler and how he has to save certain people, what he has to do in order to strategize with these different people, saving thousands of different people, and yet the tragedy that strikes by all the people he still cannot save makes it to be one powerful film, one heavy film that is just really strong within its own storytelling. Liam Neeson giving a great performance for something that's more serious on the level that you don't always see with him today, and just brings out this excellent picture that's majority black and white, having one little highlight of color within this girl throughout a couple different sequences that makes it that much more crucial to the importance of this film. And coming in number 9 we have Titanic. Now this is another American tragedy, just going over this film of the Titanic sinking and having a sort of modern twist, a romance following into it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, what they do with their chemistry on screen, expanding upon this 3-hour runtime that's still deserving, still worth what you get out of this film. Having watched it only for the first time last year, that's still really well rounded for the set design, how well the timing is with what you have for the survivors and the tragedy that is striking with this film. The visuals are still really fired up there. The effects for the water, what they have to do for the actual waves in the boat sinking things, it is just really well displayed on screen in something that you don't love to see, but it's still something that's really real, and this film makes it that much more surreal based on how they're just recreating something and making it look that much more intricate and real. And coming in number 8 we have Oppenheimer, the most recent one that is just highly immersive with the cinematography and the experience that you have on screen. Christopher Nolan bringing some of his best craft to the table and just giving off great performances all throughout. Cillian Murphy in just all the intricate actors they have spread throughout. It is a heavy dialogue film that isn't always the easiest to follow with all of its Scientology and law and quantum physics. All they have to do with that, I'm not always following, yet it's always intriguing just being able to follow along with the story, the narrative, the 3 different timelines that you're still able to kind of get a glimpse of, especially upon rewatch. Just brings you back into the experience that much more, not turning you away despite its 3-hour runtime, despite the heavy dialogue. It still is immersive by the experience and the visuals alone that makes it stand out that much more as a film. And coming in number 7 we have Amadeus. Now this is an intricate one, just going over the past foretold story of Beethoven and his enemy, basically, along the way, that they're showing a way that is so immersive for the music that is being presented on screen, the dramatic acting that Mozart has, and just how they play along with that, and the enemy that has an intricate plot to go against him and go along these lines that I'm not going to spoil for the purpose of this review. That's still immersive for what Milos Forman has to bring to the table as the director, for the excellent performance, for just the astounding way they use the music to elevate the experience and the visuals just as well. But coming in number 6, we have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now this is great as a fan of psychology. The way they study Jack Nicholson as this actor that's playing this mental stability guy and going into this mental institution, showing all of the bad things that are going on back in the day of how they treat certain patients, because they're not always aware of all the things we are today, how they know how to treat them, but it just has some different levels of engagement, some happy-go-lucky, some just tragic ways of what they're doing to the patient, and how you're sort of cheering on what the patients are sort of going into, as Jack Nicholson himself playing the character that really brings people together, really livens up the atmosphere of this mental institution. And what they have to do all with that is so engaging, just based on the dynamics of the characters alone. Jack Nicholson giving off one of his best performances, just bringing everything all together, wrapping it into a nice bow that makes it something that's so much more better than I would have expected. Next up, we have Braveheart, which is just a stunning film, just bringing all of these intricate ideas to this Englishman that's going about trying to free different people from their towns and bringing about a whole rally to really gather forces against the armies that are against them and bringing up this slavery, and just a whole immersive experience from that. The 3-hour runtime is still worth it. Just the Mel Gibson bringing about epic cinematography sort of experience throughout the whole thing, bringing out so much iconic lines, so much iconic characters, and bringing something great to the table that is large in scale, especially near the final battle scenes and the sequences that are so fun, so expansive, and yet still have the tragedy and some of the immersive drama, while also including some love stories spread throughout that offers a little bit of everything, from the action to the romance and everything's in between, that makes it something special as a film of its own. And coming in number 4, we have Kota. Now this is a film about a child of deaf adults that the child herself is into music, going into college and wanting to follow her passion into music. Meanwhile, her parents are having this fishing experience with their job and struggling with money and trying to get her into that sort of job, while she is trying to explore her own passion, struggling to communicate to her parents, and how the adults can't hear her and it can't hear necessarily anything. The communication is at a loss, and what they have to do to bring these intricate family details together by the end is something that's so much more compelling, because of the emotions, the drama that you have to do with her trying to chase after her passion while her family is struggling with her own things, and the balance she has to struggle and handle just with everything that's going on throughout, because she has to be the translator and communicator between different people that helps out her family that her parents can't hear either. Just what they have to do with that brings out such a strong, raw emotions that are down to earth, but are so much more important in communicating such a great message that really pulls on the heartstrings. But coming in number 3, we have Silence of the Lambs. Now this is a interesting one, just a way to explore psychology throughout this one as well. Anthony Hopkins playing this psychotic killer that it also plays along this character as the villain, and Jodie Foster being the CIA agent in training, and she has to use him to explore this one certain case that's going on with these murders and these different things going on sexually, that is so intriguing by the dread of what the case is going on, and having to use the enemy to use go full force into learning about certain plots going on behind the scenes, and just the immersion within the characters, the study within them, and the psychological motives that are not fun to explore, but it gets them to the answers they need to, brings about a great picture that's really immersive, really intriguing by the own motives of its psychology. And coming in number 2, we have American Beauty. Now, I just really enjoy this one for Annette Bening, Kevin Spacey, their dynamic chemistry on screen, just about this man that is sort of going into this struggle between the marriage that's happening on screen. It's almost an anti-romantic story, and yet it has these different quirky ideas that brings the characters to different levels that you don't expect but can be real and down to earth. And it's just a way to explore these characters' lives, tackle these difficult subjects of almost going into divorce, of these parents that aren't close together, and also the father starting to get an attraction for the daughter's friend. It just goes into something that it is so intriguing by how different it stands out, and yet surreal of how it tackles the subjects it does, while not being too perverted in its own intuition, going into these sensitive topics and going into a hard ending that brings it all into something that I would not expect, and yet becomes still something I want to watch, even though I don't love the subject of how it explores it, because of how the film touches on and films what is actually really going on screen that makes it really stand out amongst the others. But that leaves at number 1, Lord of the Rings Return of the King. A fantastic exploration of this journey, bringing it to the end of this trilogy and just expanding upon these characters that much more, bringing that much more tragedy and conclusion and a lightheartedness to all these epic scale battles that Peter Jackson brings so poetically to the screen, having fantastic themes, fantastic characters, and intricate ideas woven throughout that really brings the immersion to the screen. And no matter how you're watching it, becomes so epic in scale and so intricate in the immersion that it pulls you in throughout, despite its 3-hour runtime, becomes that much more compelling at the end of this trilogy. So that's just all 10 of my favorite Best Picture winners that I have seen thus far. Let me know in the comments below how many Best Picture winners have you seen, and which are your favorite amongst them. So that's just all. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, so you can help build this film culture community. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.